going to be a little higher scoring than you do. I think Brady's going to have to get into the 30s to win this game because I do not trust his defense. I trust Brady's offense in this game far more than I do Todd Bowles' defense. As I always tell you, I love Todd Bowles as a coordinator far more than I love his defense that he is coordinating right now. I'm going to go all the way up to 31-30, Brady over Brees. 31-30 on some wild finish. It's going to take a GOAT finish by Tom Brady.
So you believe he throws the game-winning touchdown, leaves a game-winning touchdown drive,
I'll go
or he puts it in
game-winning field goal drive by Ryan Suckup. That's what I'm going to come down to, and he's going to hit Gronk with a couple of big passes in that drive, just the way he did against the Rams when he finally figured them out in the Super Bowl. And here's what I'm also hanging my hat on. When we last saw Drew Brees last year in a playoff game at home, he lost to Kirk Cousins. You remember that game?
He did.
It was overtime, 26-20, and Drew did not play well in that game by his standards. And he had a lost fumble and an interception, and Cousins outplayed him. Cousins had a QBR of 79 to Drew's 49. And it was pretty shocking that Minnesota got after them and held Kamara to 21 yards and Latavius to 21 yards rushing. They each had 21 yards. Okay, so that's the formula for how to do it. But it took overtime, but it was 26-20. It took a push off by Rudolph in the end zone. Remember, it was highly controversial. I wouldn't have called it, but whatever. You could say that they got robbed again at home. Okay, now we go back to in Brees' last 4 home playoff games. The truth is, he hasn't played great in any of them.
Well, Skip, he didn't play well the first half of the Minnesota game. Remember, they ended up being the Minnesota Miracle. He came back in the second half. But they were down by like what? They were down by like 20 points at one point in that game.
That was at
Minnesota.
But I'm just looking at 4 home games because this one is home. And his average QBR for those 4 games, just to sum it up, is a 57, scale 0 to 100. Trust me, that by his standards, that's not good.
Well, Skip, let me tell you what happens. Is that a lot of times when you have home playoff games, you get so caught up, the crowd's going to be able to bail us out. And you forget that you still have to play games. And teams go in there and say, look, if we can just get this crowd, get them out of it early. So keep them at bay. So in other words, they don't allow Saints to run off with a 21-3 or a 28-10 lead, and the crowd stays in a frenzy the entire ball game. For the most part, they've been trailing the entire game, or the game has been kind of nip and tuck, and that's what the Rams did, Skip. The Rams kept them at bay. Drew threw a horrible interception.
He did.
They kept him at bay, Drew got the ball in overtime, didn't do anything with it. They get the ball, end up kicking a field goal, and boom, there you go.
And then go back to the home playoff game before that one, and it was the Nick Foles, remember, Eagles game at New Orleans. And I thought Nick Foles was going to pull off his magic act again, and he hit Alshon right in the hands, and it went right through his hands for a late interception that stopped what could have been a game-winning drive. Okay, so got that going. Then you mentioned fans. Obviously, fans are not much of a factor anymore, right?
Not 3,000.
Okay. And yet, this Tampa team is weird to me. I don't know why. They haven't played well at home, but they played much better to me away. So I sort of like the fact it's at New Orleans without many fans because I think they have a better chance there, weirdly, than they would have at home.
Well, New Orleans should have put in a request and asked the NFL, could they play this game at Jerry World? Because Jerry World, you get 40,000 fans in this game.
And second to Jerry World has been Tampa Bay, where I don't know exactly how many it's been, but it looks like it's got some people there.
They do get some people in there.
It doesn't seem to work to inspire the Buccaneers.
Well, Skip, the thing is also, if you look at that game in which you're talking about, the 38-3 ball game in which the Saints beat the Bucs, they hit Tom Brady more than anybody else hit him this year.
It was the worst he's been roughed up all year.
They hit him 9 times.
I got it.
And it started from the very first snap. And that's what you're going to have to do, Skip. Look, you cannot let this man get comfortable. Because the more comfortable he gets, the more uncomfortable he'll make you. And so it's going to be imperative that Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator for the Saints, have the game of his life. Because he knows what Tom Brady represents. Tom Brady lived for this moment. He's made his name. The regular season, we know what the regular season is. But Tom Brady, legends are made in the playoffs. And he's had more big playoff moments than any other quarterback in the history of the game. So Dennis Allen is well aware of what Tom Brady represents. They are.
Okay, so the Saints pass rush comes from everywhere because it's deep and it's talented. They don't have one guy who's Khalil Mack or Aaron Donald, even though Cam Jordan sometimes plays like he's Aaron Donald or Khalil. But if you look down the list, they just have a bunch of guys. Even Demario Davis comes as a blitzer. And yet, what guy do you keep singling out?
Hendrickson is bad.
Hendrickson, and he's got a neck injury. He practiced limited this week. Couldn't play last week. So I'm having to, I'll knock on wood for him because I hate to even talk about injuries, especially when it involves a man's neck. But he might not quite be himself in this game, and they're going to need him to not quite be himself.
Because he was Skip, he's going to need to be himself. Like I said, he didn't play, and he's been limited since the game against, I think he got hurt in Kansas City's game, and he's kind of been limited in and out of the lineup since then. But he's going to have to be on his best behavior.
Offsetting that is Brady lost his offensive guard, Alex Kappa, who's he's not great, but he lost him in the game at Washington. I think he fractured his ankle, but he's not going to play. They're going to start a kid named Aaron Stinney at guard who has never started an NFL game. He's highly regarded, but he's never played. Well, is that going to be a weak link? Because what does Brady need to do? He needs to step into his throws.
Really, the best protection you need for Brady, you need a center and your two guards. Because he's looking to step up.
Now, I'm going to also hang my hat on this one stat that I saw on your favorite website, Pro Football Focus. My Bible. What did I see this week that knocked me out of my chair and probably sent you about to leap out your window?
What happened?
This is ranking secondaries in the National Football League. And I'm thinking, New Orleans secondary, it's loaded, man, with experience and talent, And I'm thinking, well, they're going to be, what, top 5? And I'm looking, and I get down to number 6, and Tampa Bay's secondary is 6th in the league. And I'm thinking, it can't be. It's so torturable.
Thank you.
And then I keep going down. I have to go to 21. New Orleans secondary is ranked 21st in productivity. Why is that? First line of the explanation: penalties killed New Orleans secondary rankings. The group committed 45 penalties in the regular season, 6 more than any other unit in the NFL. 9 came courtesy of Marshawn Lattimore, who earned a 53.7 coverage grade, which is still good, but meaning he did have decent ball production, but he had 9 pass breakups, but he also gave up more touchdowns than any cornerback in single coverage all year, 6. So he can be a weak link on pass interference, or if you want to call it cluing, jumping routes, beat deep.
You know what it is, Skip? I think sometimes that he plays down to the level of competition, because we watched him give up a touchdown to Alshon, and I'm like, Marshawn, really? You know Alshon can't beat you deep, but you're playing on top of it.
I agree.
You know all he is a 50-50 and a back shoulder fade guy. So why are you on top of him? But there's something about Mike Evans that brings something out of him.
Does it?
And it happens sometimes, Skip. It's sometimes you go against the guy and you know that he has the potential to embarrass you, you are on your best behavior, where you play down like, oh, man, that guy can't do anything.
So watch Tom Brady go deep to Mike Evans, I don't know, 3 or 4 times with those sort of lob deep balls, those arcs, those rainbows, just to see if Mike Evans at 6 feet 5 inches tall can get a pass interference or maybe snag one above Marshawn Lattimore, who will be in single coverage, I'm going to guess, the whole game on Mike Evans,
a lot of the game, yes.
And then what did I tell you all the way back to last Monday? My X factor for this game is the new guy, Antonio Brown. He can be a force on and off the football field, and he's becoming a force on the field because, as Bruce Arians said this week, he's finally in game shape. He's also in Brady shape because they're starting to click and connect on a wavelength that they did not have starting in that first game on that fateful night of November 8th when they got beat down and annihilated and humiliated at home. But since then, it started to get better and better and better. I still say he'll be your nightmare matchup because I don't know how you do you put Jackrabbit on him in single? He's going to hurt somebody during this game because Brady loves him, and Brady will also feature him. So if you don't, you have to acknowledge and honor Chris Godwin because remember last year he was Pro Football Focus.